Adam Carolla is back on the road. May 2nd and 3rd in Port Charlotte, Florida at Visani's Italian Steakhouse and Comedy Theater. Sunday, May 4th in Melbourne, Florida at the Melbourne Auditorium with Terrence K. Williams. And then the Ace Man jumps over to the Pacific Northwest May 30th and 31st at the Tacoma Comedy Club in Washington. Get tickets for these and other shows at adamcarolla.com. A clean episode from a man who never showers. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. The church is going to mandate you. Get it on. Adam Yenser back in the studio. He has a very funny dry bar special himself. Just riddled with good jokes. He's going to be at the La Jolla Comedy Store coming up this weekend, and he's going to be there with Yakov Smirnoff, our friend.
He's a great guy.
He's truly, you know what? When they go, he's a lovely guy, that's who they're talking about.
Absolutely,
when they say Yakov Smirnoff.
Yes.
A mensch.
Yes, just a good dude.
He is.
Had a chance to catch up with him when I was in Florida last and did a little interview with him and brought him up on stage and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Good dude. So what do you do at the Comedy Store in La Jolla? Do you go out? Does he feature? Do you feature? Who does?
I'm featuring on these. So he's headlining these shows. I just started working with him about, 4 months ago. He's somebody, when I grew up watching Johnny Carson, I loved his old Johnny Carson set. And he's like a legend in the comedy world. And he was doing these shows at his theater in Branson, and now he's going back out on the road again. So yeah, he's headlining. I do some time before him, and he's just been a blast to work with.
We were talking off the air, and it's a big subject in my world. I asked Adam where he lived, and he said Toluca Lake, but he pointed towards Sun Valley. And then I stopped and said, "You're pointing the wrong direction," which I do with everybody all the time, which I can't tell if it means I'm an ass or I care too much.
Now, you got a lot of iron deposits in your nose. Oh.
As something, it just bothers me, but it's also, here's my problem. I don't want them to carry on pointing the wrong direction. I'm not always going to be there. I'm like a dad telling his son, you know what I mean?
And I appreciate it. I took the correction. I said, I'm good outside in LA. I know the directions. When I get inside, I feel like I get turned around. And I'm just like, oh, I'll just point whichever which way.
You must have played sports as a youth.
Oh, not a lot. I was in Boy Scouts, but I was not a sport person.
Because there's a new breed of folk who cannot be coached.
Yeah.
It's mostly women and young dudes. They just argue, they make excuses, like you can't coach them. And I realized they didn't play sports, they weren't in the military, they didn't have some guy in a position looking down at them, telling them they were doing it wrong every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so that is sort of the new world order. But when I say something to someone and they go, "Oh, yeah, right, thanks, I was wrong," then that means they were in the military or they wrestled or they played football or something. Scouting makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you get to a high level of scouting?
I did. I got to Eagle Scout.
Oh,
but clearly
we must have talked about this.
Still don't know my directions.
Yeah, your navigation badge is revoked.
Well, it's a thing, and it's a thing with me, and people do it all the time. They go, "Oh, I'm out in Malibu," and then they point, and I go, "You're pointing to Pasadena and like Yorba Linda or something." I think we can keep going. We can get to Vegas the way you're pointing. And I guess we'll circle the globe, and eventually we'll get to Malibu. Technically, you might be right, but we'd have to circumnavigate the globe to come back around to Malibu. But there's a closer way that's only 18 miles if you want to point that direction. And then everyone's number one answer is either I'm wrong or they go, "Yeah, I don't know what direction Malibu is." And then I go, "Don't point." Because let's just say you said, I'll ask, don't point. But you just tell me you live in Toluca Lake. Where you live, Adam?
I live in Toluca Lake.
Liar! See, it wouldn't work that way. It wouldn't. I would believe you. You pointing makes me not believe
that
you.
Makes it feel
now
like
I think you're a liar
Yeah.
because you're pointing to Sun Valley. So maybe you don't live in Toluca. Just keep your hands in your pocket when you say where you live. Or pick the right direction.
I will pick the right direction next time.
Or just keep the hands in the pocket. Or Or maybe the way we're going to do it next time, Adam, I'll go, where do you live? And then I'll go, hold on. Let's go out in the parking lot. And then we'll go out in the parking lot, and then you can triangulate, and then you'll
as
know.
an Eagle Scout, I'll look where the sun is in the sky.
I thought you were going to put a stick in the ground
I'll get out
and see
my
which
compass.
way it turns.
Yes, I didn't bring my compass.
Eagle Scout. I feel like Eagle Scout used to really mean something. It was like owning a van.
Yeah.
It's like, that guy's going places. He's got a van. You know, like now it's a little bit of a strike or you're square or something. Like, I don't know what it is, but it was a big deal.
It was a tough thing to do back in the day. And it was, I think they've lowered the standards in scouting a little bit. And they did the thing where they kind of merged the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts into one thing called scouting. So it's, don't like it. I don't either. Look, here's the thing, and I've been yelling about this into a microphone for a million years, which is not everything is progress. Like all progress isn't always good. Sometimes you go and you make mistakes. We have this thing, especially in California. It's like, what's next? What's next? I don't know. Find a rearview mirror. Take a look behind you. Maybe folks who are older than us, maybe other generations had some things right. I was sitting at a Starbucks in La Cañada. I was waiting for it.
Pointing in the right direction. A little more that way. But I was sitting at Starbucks in La Cañada a few weeks ago, and I saw and I do want to tell people this. People do this thing all the time. They go, we're looking for a house. Want to know how the school system is. Want to know the walking score. There's a score for walking, which is weird. But there's it's got a high walking score, and it's in a good district. I don't know. It means places are safe or close or something.
Like you could stroll to Starbucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. I'll tell you, all you need to do is go to the closest Starbucks to your home. And then you go in and you do what I did at the La Cañada one, which is I went in, saw the guy behind the counter, and I said, what's the code for the bathroom door? And he goes, no code. And I went, that's why this is
that's a good
that's why this is La Cañada.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, because the code, if you ever go to a place where they just go, no code for the bathroom at the Starbucks, that's a good neighborhood. And you don't need to know the schooling or the walking. You don't need anything else. That's all you need.
The Carolla Starbucks score.
That's all. It's all you need. It means safe, good, no junkies, fentanyl, whatever. That's what it means. It means no homeless.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in that Starbucks after destroying the bathroom, man. I tore that place apart. I tore the hinges off that door, man. No, after vandalizing the bathroom and
They put a code in after you used it. They were like, all right, we can't let him back in here.
I like the doesn't care code. I was at another place used the bathroom in North Hollywood. They had the code, but it's the don't care code. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pound. You know, like, oh, okay. We have a code, but not really. So I saw a girl, I don't know, 12-year-old girl come walking up, and she's wearing a Boy Scouts uniform, and I was like, what? And then that got me launched off on it. Could we just have the Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
Can we just have it? Is everything got to be something? Is it okay? Can we just go, we'll have the Boy Scouts?
Yeah, and they have the Girl Scouts for girls, and that worked for them.
It was
and Boy
fine.
Scouts for boys, and you need separate
By the way,
sex
you guys
activities
there's
at that time.
a gym for girls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then someone goes, why? And then someone goes, who cares? There's a gym for girls. That's okay. I don't need to infiltrate it. There's other gyms. We don't need to go. There could be a gym for men. I wouldn't care. It's just, why can't we have a Boy Scouts? That's all I'm saying. And does everything have to go? And is their plan to give young girls a chance at scouting, or is it just, I hate my dad and I have to destroy everything? Because it's, I hate my dad and I have to destroy everything. And we don't get it. We sit around and they go, oh, well, then what if we had another scout? It's like, what we don't get is these people are angry and just want to destroy everything. And we keep trying to bargain with them because we think there's something they want, but they don't want anything. They want the opposite of what you want, which is everything.
And I think they also hate that they see the Boy Scouts and any traditional institution, they see it as having other traditional values underlying it that I think they want to detract from. So they see the Boy Scouts as, it was often affiliated with churches, like you'd meet in a church basement. They kind of fostered some traditional gender roles, and they hate all of that stuff now.
Yes. So what they do now is what I basically learned in COVID, but it's like you're like, I don't want to wear a paper mask alone on a hiking trail, and they're like, oh, you're a Trump voter. And I go, not necessarily. I don't want to do unuseful things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
MAGA guy. I'm like, and now we're arguing, and I'm like, look, if you told me every time I went for a walk I had to just circle the light post 3 times before I could go on, I would not want to do that either. But it doesn't make me MAGA. It just makes me against doing stuff that's useless, you know?
Yeah.
And so everything is a signal for something, and it's a two-way street. I see someone wearing a mask alone in their car. I know how they vote. Yeah. I know what their politics are, right? So everything becomes something. So nothing can exist in a vacuum. And you're Boy Scout guy, but that means you're a MAGA guy now because of the traditional whatever. And so now we're going to attack that, but we're not really attacking walking alone without a mask on a trail. We're attacking your politics. And that's basically what it's all come down to now, right? Yeah. So you drive a pickup truck and you put an American flag on it. We know.
It's like, oh, that's
all right, we know. And so then the people are like, why are they against the American flags? Like, they're not against the American flag. They're against the way the guy who drives the truck votes.
Yeah.
And now they know it.
It's become even like that driving around. I try not to do it myself, but if I see a house that has patriotic stuff on it, I assume it's like, there must be conservative people living there.
Yeah. I figured out a long time ago, like, there are ways to... Okay, in terms of conservative house, if you put a sign up that says, no person is illegal and the LGBT and we believe whatever, you're ripe for a robin, like a pistol whipping and a robin. But if you put an NRA or these colors don't run or whatever, then they'll probably go to the next house where they put that sign up. I mean, someone should statistically work it out, but you want to put a Confederate flag sticker on your front window, you might get it broken, but you're not going to get robbed. That means there's someone in there cleaning a gun right now. I saw the number one house to rob sorry, my nose is running. I saw a house that had a sticker for how many cats they had in the house, so the fire department could save them. I'm like, you're going to get robbed.
But what is in a house full of cats that you want to rob? I feel like
everything's covered with hair and
you take everything out, it all smells like the cats.
That's so funny. All right, so my special, which sorry, you're going to put all that info on the screen. What we talked about before, that comes, Adam Comes Clean. That's available right now.
And it's fantastic, by the way. I watched it. Great jokes.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm so flattered because I watched yours and I thought, Adam's got a bunch of great jokes in his.
Yeah, yours is awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad you watched it.
The fencing.
You saw it on Drybar.
Yes.
I'm sorry, on Drybar.
Yeah, on the app, yeah.
Oh, okay. So now the first special I shot is available in front of the paywall or whatever. So it's free. You don't have to sign up, is what I'm saying, to do it. The second one I shot is available to subscribers, and that's behind. You have to have a subscription, right? But the first one is free to anyone listening. It's just at their website. I guess you go to on the Angel app, and it's free. All right, so there you go. So thanks for watching. I appreciate that. People are. I find sometimes when it comes to stand, I don't know if you have this thought or not, but like I'll go out and do like I did Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s stand-up fundraiser, whatever, the night of comedy with whatever. And, I can be realistic about my performances. Every time I say that, I go, I crush, man. I'll tell you, the theater was that direction. No, there was like 7 or 8 comedians. And when you get in that situation, you do sort of sit back there and everyone's doing 15 minutes. And I did it with a Kid Rock benefit and stuff. But you sit in the green room, you're kind of people are sizing people up a little bit because at some point somebody's going to pick a ranking. Mm-hmm. They'll go, how was the Kid Rock, 9 of 1,000 comedians? They go, so-and-so is really good. And then so-and-so is, and then you want to be up toward the top.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I went out there and I crushed it. And I was probably the funniest of the night. But I saw everyone was good, but I did extra good. And then a lot of comedians will come on the show and I'll go, oh man, I saw this guy. He did the Robert Kennedy, whatever, and he was really great that night. And they go, thanks. And then they leave back and I go, they never go, oh, you were good too.
Yes,
like it's weird. Like the comedians don't like to hand it out.
Yeah.
And so it's rare or pretty rare when comedians go, hey, I saw your special was great, or something like, or I was with you that night. It was a good job or whatever. It's just did you notice that?
Oh, I noticed that, but I'm glad you have a self-awareness about it because I know when I've done well, but I also know comics, especially newer comics, when you watch them go up and they'll get off and you'll hear them tell people the next show, oh, I crushed. And you're like, no, I was at that show. You didn't crush.
Interesting.
I see the opposite thing where they have this unfounded self-confidence where they're like, oh, I killed it again tonight.
Do you find that's
all right?
That's helpful in comedy?
I don't think so. No,
right? Unreal confidence.
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
And what I find from the audience, where you also never want to be, is sometimes at a club, especially, it'll be like waiting by the exit to say goodbye to people, thank them for coming, and the audience will come up and they'll go to a comic and go, "Oh, you were really good," and they'll turn and look at another one and go, "Oh, hi, you were."
Yeah, right.
You can tell they weren't really a fan of that one.
Yeah. I think it's good to do reality on reality terms.
Absolutely.
It'll help you improve. But if you had a good night, then you can own that as well. You just have to call balls and strikes for yourself.
Yeah.
It'll be helpful. So you were an Eagle Scout when it was tough to be an Eagle Scout.
Yes.
What is the minimum amount of time it would take to be an Eagle Scout back in the day? Like to get to black belt.
Yes.
Yeah. You couldn't do it in 3 months.
So, that's interesting because you had to finish it by your 18th birthday. Those were the rules. When you become an adult, you're no longer in Scouts. I was where I pushed it till like the week before my birthday. I remember my dad being like, you got to finish this. You got to get this merit badge done to finish it in time. There were kids that would finish it around, I don't know what the earliest is, but 13, 14, 15. There were kids that got in there and they would just have this, they'd have to get 2 sashes full of getting every merit badge. But so earliest I'd say maybe 14, 15 if you were a real overachiever. But 18 was the cutoff.
And how long did it take you then? I mean, you start when you're 7?
So you joined Cub Scouts around 6 or 7, and that's like the junior scouting. And then around 11 or 12, I think you become a Boy Scout. And then you have those 6 years between 12 to 18 in Boy Scouts to complete all the merit badges and do an Eagle project and complete all the requirements.
What was the most difficult task or merit badge?
Ooh. I remember the swimming merit badge was tough because the only place you could either go on your own time in the summer, but at Boy Scout camp over the summer, they would have swimming merit badge, and you'd have to get up at the crack of dawn. And even in the summer, it was in the Poconos, it was this cold lake. So you'd have to go in there, and there was a mile swim, and you'd have to dive down and pick up things off the bottom that were in the murky brown water when it's 6 a.m. and 58 degrees outside.
Really?
So that was the thing where you'd kind of put that one off, and then one year you'd be like, I have to get swimming merit badge this year. That one was tough. It was physically exerting, and it was freezing cold.
I gotta
and
get the
dirty
drowning
water
practice.
Yeah.
That's tough. I don't think it's a phobia, but to be in water where you can't see your feet, but I don't like it, and I don't think anyone likes it.
And it's one of those where you're swimming down through the water, and you don't even know how close you are to the bottom until it just appears out of the murky depths, and then you're just holding your breath and desperate to get back up.
So the swim one was a tough one.
That one was tough for me, yeah. And then you always have to complete an Eagle project. I put in flagpoles at a Boy Scout camp, so we had to dig the pits for the 3 flagpoles, put in the cement, put up the poles, and put a garden around it. Different people picked different levels of difficulty for their eagle projects.
And I feel like, and anyone who's done anything at a sort of higher level discipline, and it doesn't really matter whether it's MMA or Eagle Scouting or football or whatever. It's just about sort of conquering yourself, sort of getting past your pain.
I'm glad you put those on the same level of it, like a UFC fight. I'm flattered.
I'm just saying it doesn't have to be anything where you're awarded a championship belt or an Eagle Scout ranking. It's just sort of conquering yourself.
Yes, yeah.
And man, it is trouble these days. People aren't doing it. They're not engaging in it. I feel like I fall back on it a lot. It has a, it's not necessarily physical all the time. Like, I was talking to someone about doing a clean 45 minutes, and it was like, put it on the calendar, put that date on it. I'm going to start working on it. It's not all going to be that comfortable, but put it on the calendar. Let's do it. But I am drawing on playing football weirdly, a million years ago, or just doing a whole bunch of stuff I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
And then I realize sometimes I talk to a lot of people who haven't done a lot of stuff they don't want to do, and they're not good at doing stuff they don't want to do, and the product is bad, and or they don't do it at all, and they end up getting left behind in life.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting because I feel like I like that. It's like challenging yourself. It's you want to know that you can rise to the challenge, even if it's just doing, the clean 45 minutes. Or when I was in Boy Scouts, I remember the only merit badge I ever gave up on at scout camp the one year, that was mountain biking. And I was a pretty good mountain biker. But when I signed up for it, the group that I was in were all these kids that had been doing it for years and could, hop their bikes over logs. And I felt like I was getting left in the dust. And that summer, I quit that merit badge, and it bothered me. It was like, that was like the first time. When I do something, even if it's hard, it's like you kind of want to commit and see it through, even if it's going to take you a while. But that sat with me when I was like, oh, I gave up on that thing. And I don't like doing that. And that was a feeling. I was like, oh, I don't want that feeling again about something.
Yeah, giving up on stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and also, you didn't want to say out loud, like, I'm scared to do that.
Yeah.
Or the one that's weird that people do a lot is they just go, I don't do that. I'm not doing that again. I go, okay, stop saying. Why do you have such a long list of things you don't do, or food you won't try, or stuff you won't engage in?
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, just go, let's do it, or give it a try, or whatever. I prefer this over that. But people out loud go like, I'm scared to do this, or I'm not comfortable with that, or whatever. A lot of it's nonsense. But I just mean, there's got to be. We've sanitized the world enough so that kids don't have to engage in that stuff if they don't choose to. And the moms have become, and the dads, the moms started it and the dads just sort of fell in. They became like weird Nazi sympathizers or something. Like, I'm not going to round up any Jews, but I'm not going to say anything if anyone else does. Like, I'll just hang out and watch. You know what I mean? The guys sucked into that. And kids are soft now.
Yeah.
And they don't test themselves.
It's that participation trophy culture and the sort of lowering the standards where everybody, you just kind of. That's how I feel like Boy Scouts might be now. I don't know what the standards are, but I feel like they've.
Yes.
I
don't get what is satisfying about the participation trophy, because I got a lot of them, and it's been going on for a long time. And we always couch it as the participation trophy, but participation trophy is what you got if you participated. But I didn't care. I wanted most valuable or best defensive, whatever.
Yeah.
I was so weirded out in my head that when I was in the 11th grade and I went to play varsity football, and I went from not starting on the B team to ended up being a starter on the varsity because I was just really threw myself into it. And at the end of the year, I got most improved, and I was like disgusted. I was like, "What?
Yeah.
Give me that. Get out of here with that crap." And
I also got that too.
You did it?
Wrestling, yeah.
And people, later on in life, like people are like, "Oh no, that's a good one." I'm going, "No, it's not. I don't want that."
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's an interesting mindset. Like, and without judgment, who would be proud of most improved? And there's an argument for it. And then I was disgusted by it. I didn't want to talk about it. I was like, fine. I didn't brought it up to anyone.
Yeah.
But I don't know let's
I threw mine in the lake.
Did you?
Yeah. I didn't care at all.
I don't know that I ever accepted mine. I don't know where it is. I don't know that I ever had anyone hand it to me.
It's not something you display. If you get first place or if you finish something, that you want that displayed. You want people, like, you're proud of it. But yeah, I remember if we got participation stuff, it was always these little red ribbons, and you just either throw them away instantly or you put it in a drawer somewhere, and 2 years later you'd throw it away. There's just like,
it's not
nothing.
just that too. We live in a time of like cheap dopamine. Like you can just instantly be kind of happy, and it like kind of holds people back from being truly happy. A lot of the fighters that I coach, the guys who fall off don't have the discipline to like just get in there and grind it out. So a lot of doing something really great is boring and lonely.
Yeah.
And,
it's super.
That's very true.
Super repetitive, and I think that's where people fall out. The super repetitive stuff. Like the hardest thing I could ever, when I taught boxing, I couldn't get people to skip rope because they just they weren't good at it, and they didn't like it. And all they did was sit in one place for 20 minutes and skip rope, and they just hated it. They just wouldn't do it. They'd go right on, wallop on the heavy bag or something.
But you go get a 17-year-old to jab and stick it back to his face nowadays. Everybody thinks that they're Floyd Mayweather and is boxing a Philly shell.
Right,
They're like
right.
doing this, and everybody throws their jab and puts it back their nipple, and I punch them in the face. And I say, aha, you see that?
I hit a student of mine in the.
I hit all my students in the face.
I did it, and I remember it was a woman. and she was like, "Why'd you do that?" And I said, "I told you 9 times to pull your jab back to your head. I just told you to do it. Just do it." You know what I mean? And they're like, nobody could throw a cross without dropping their jab down to their head. And I was like, don't do it. Just put it on your face and physically touch your face. Then if you can't figure it out, you can't be trusted. They throw that cross hand right back down to the hip. And I'm like,
see, I got so crazy yesterday. I just put them guys to go jab, cross, hook, cross, and like block, and then throw it right back. So sometimes you get punched in the face. But if you're shielding up, you know what's coming. 4 punches in a row, put your hands back to your face. It's a nightmare. Trying to discipline these guys like hurting kittens that are razor claws, I'll
tell you something that's probably good for these guys. I don't know if you do it, but I used to do it. I think when I used to be at the Jet Center, Benny Urquidez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know this. Yeah, the Valley.
I'd go, just do the first round, just your front hand.
Yeah, that's
just
what we did.
Jabbing and hooking and whatever you uppercut, whatever you can muster with your bad arm, but just your bad arm, which is good because it teaches you to really not ignore your bad arm. So it's like the first round, just the front hand. The second round, you can throw the cross, but only downstairs, which is good because people ignore the jab and they ignore body punches. And they should be doing more body work and more weak arm, but they just load up on the cross and they go head hunting. Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So do the first round just the front arm, and do the second round. You can use your back arm, but only to the body.
But we have the same methodology.
Oh, you do?
Yep. That's exactly what I ran through yesterday.
Oh, really?
Funny. That old school stuff still works. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah, that was way back at the Jet Center in Van Nuys with Benny Urquidez and his brother-in-law Blinky and his wife Lily, or his wife, Blinky's wife. These guys were scary guys. Like, Benny Urquidez would do like death matches in the Philippines and stuff. Like kind of crazy stuff.
They are pretty legendary. I know about them,
Yeah, they were famous guys. They're in Van Nuys, and then the earthquake hit, and their building like fell down because it's all made out of bricks.
Oh, wow.
And bricks in an earthquake are it just comes all down. So like when I was living in an old house in the valley when the first earthquake hit in the 70s. We had this big, tall chimney, and it just fell out.
Oh.
And we never fixed it. Which was normal to me, but now I look at it is weird. You know, now that I look at it, it's sort of like, and it was weird. The earthquake, you can look it up, Dawson. It was 72 or 74. That the chimney, and it was a high chimney because the house had a very high pitched roof. 71? Oh, that early. DeleteMe makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at any time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers make a profit off of your data. Your data is a commodity. Anybody on the web can buy your private details, and this can lead to identity theft, phishing attempts, and harassment. But now you can protect your privacy with DeleteMe. Look, there's a lot of convenience that comes with our new technology, but there's a couple of pitfalls as well, and responsibility. No one needed car insurance when they rode a horse, but you like your car, and now you get insurance, and that's what you do with DeleteMe. It's a insurance for the internet. Am I right, Dawson?
Take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe. Now at a special discount for our listeners, today get 20% off your DeleteMe plan by texting Adam to 64000. The only way to get 20% off is to text Adam at 64000. That's Adam to 64000. Message and data rates may apply.
Homes.com. Some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. It may be because Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory, or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with your listing agent and the one who knows the home the best. That's right, the listing agent that knows it the best. Or perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com goes above and beyond to bring the home shoppers the in-depth info they need to find the right home. Homes.com. We've done your homework. So the house had a high-pitched roof, and the rule is the chimney needs to go higher than the top of the roof for fire, safety, whatever code they had, 1891 or whatever it was. Yeah. But you had to go past the ridge rafter, the top of the thing.
So no embers, I guess.
Right. And so, but the chimney was down at the bottom line, like at the wall line. So that meant the chimney was like 13 feet high, and it was all just brick, and it was 1 million years old, and the earthquake hit, and it all fell over. And it all slid into our neighbor's yard, which I thought was sort of novel. Because it just went to the Truex's yard because there was only like 3 feet between our house and their yard, and it just
tumbled.
Went in the yard. And then, but the thing that was funny about it is I was like, oh, all right, well, now we don't have a chimney. And everyone was like, yeah, no more chimney for us. And then at some point I was like 35 and I was visiting my mom. It's like, yeah, no chimney. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Which is a weird mentality, but no chimney for the rest of that house's life. And then it got torn down. But it also just reminded me of a funny story, which is my grandparents had an upright piano, like a cheap, bad upright piano, but they had a piano, and they were putting some tar on a roof above it, a flat roof, and it dripped down and got onto the handle, on the arm of this upright piano. And then at some point, my grandparents died, and my sister sort of collected things that were at the house. Now, nobody in my family's left any money or anything. God forbid. God, I want to break a pencil every time I think about that, you know?
I always think about that too.
I was at breakfast with somebody the other day, and it was like a couple, and I was like, your parents, are they done? Are they okay? And they were like, they're very comfortable. And I was like, Oh, and then I said to the guys, like, what about your parents? Well, my mom has like millions of dollars. And I go, where'd you get the? Well, my dad had the million, then he died. Now she's got the millions. And I'm like, what's that like? Like somebody dies and leaves you something, you know, just that, I don't know, a vacation house in Palm Springs or a condo in Maui or something.
I would like to just talk to the lawyer, you know what I mean?
Just something. Or maybe it's just $8,000, but it's just $8,000,
right,
but it's something, right?
I remember that in high school when I would hear kids, if their grandmother or their grandfather died, and they'd be like, oh, they left me $15,000 or $20,000. And I was like, I've had several relatives die. All I got was to go to a funeral. There was no inheritance from it. It was just somebody's gone.
I had to pay for the funeral. My father-in-law. It was a $15,000 casket.
Yeah.
I found the exact one online at Costco for like $1,100 like 2 days later. It's exactly the same. Anyway.
Now, do they have bulk caskets at Costco? If you're planning to have a few people pass in the next few.
I mean, I'm sure there was a reason why this one was 15, but it's probably just like bought at the mortuary or something versus saving my money for the person I wasn't related to. Okay. But there was no money, or there's never any money. And my parents have passed on, and the grandparents passed. Everyone passed on, but there's never any money. But there were, like, my sister was able to go in and get like a crock pot or stuff, you know, just some plates or some, you know, just some stuff, you know. And she got the piano. I didn't even care about. I mean, I think here's the biggest. There could be no greater indictment of a family's lack of wealth than somebody dies and then somebody says, do you want to go through the belongings? I go, I'm good. That's basically saying there's nothing. They're there.
Hey, wait a minute. You got a Tony Bennett CD.
I was bequeathed the Tony Bennett CD and the Practical Bible by Dennis Prager. And I'm going a step further.
All right.
I'm going to argue that the bag it was delivered in has some value.
It does.
I'm not saying, you know, you're going to get rich and retire off of selling the Trader Joe's bag, but it's not worthless. It has some value.
After lunch, I almost walked off with his inheritance. I thought it was freebies.
Yeah, well, that was my dad. My mom, I got a note, and that was made out to me and my sister, but I'm not sure where that note is. But I don't feel like it has a lot of value to it. I don't know what I could sell it for, but maybe.
You haven't tried to eBay it yet.
Not going to test the waters. I'm going to get an appraiser over it. I want to get a loan out against it.
Yeah.
All right, I got this note from my mom. It's half my sister's, though, so I don't fully own it. And then I got this Tony Bennett CD, and I got the Practical Bible. So, like, what could we...
Does it come in the good bag? Or are you keeping the bag?
Oh, yeah, I could keep the bag. I'm for sentimental reasons. So my sister had this piano at her house that had roofing tar on the arm of it. And it had dripped off the ceiling. But this is from like 1973. And I was at her house for Thanksgiving like 15 or 20 years ago. And she had this thing in her house, the piano. And she said, yeah, I got Grandpa's piano. I said, oh, okay. And then I looked at it and I said, the tar's still there. And my mom was there, and my sister and my stepdad, and they go, yeah, the tar, still there after all those years. And I go, yeah, it's still there. And my mom's like laughing. Yeah, it dripped down from the ceiling, and then it was there. And I was like, yeah, we can get rid of it. And everyone looked at me like, what? Oh, I had a couple of drinks. Okay. So I go, give me your hairdryer. Give me a hairdryer. I need a hairdryer and like a butter knife. And everyone's at the table, they're looking at me like, what's this guy doing? I go, come in. I get the hairdryer, I get the butter knife, I heat it up with the hairdryer, and I just get the butter knife, and it just comes off, and then I go, it's done! It's done! It took 4 minutes! 4 minutes, you losers! For 50 years you've been living with all this.
4 minutes and 5 decades, pal.
Yeah, 4 minutes and 5 decades. Right, that's how long it took to get the tar. But who are we dealing with here? We're dealing with people that see tar dripped on an instrument and go, nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do. The chimney's gone. The tar's taking its place. And there's nothing we can do because we're losers and we're trapped in our environment. We didn't do MMA. We weren't Eagle Scouts and we didn't play football. We're just here. And whatever happens is what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't get it, but it's a mentality. And it's bad.
Yeah. Well, one thing I admire about you, you seem to know these things. And I worry about that as a comedian. I feel like as I've gotten older, when I was a kid, something like that, or you mentioned roofing, like my uncles and my grandfathers were all roofers. So I'd help them roof.
Oh, that's why you didn't get left anything.
I felt like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I felt like I was doing something manual and accomplishing something when I was doing that stuff. And in Boy Scouts, you learn how to do physical things. As I've gotten older and I'm doing comedy, it's fun, but I feel like if comedy doesn't work out or if it goes away, I have no skills that I've picked up over the last 20 years. Man. There's just no more practical, that kind of work.
Yeah. I would say to people, and I'm a little bit of a broken record on it, but you need like a sort of tactile, you need to live. You have to have one foot in a tactile world.
Yes.
And when you get into comedy, or you just sit in a cubicle all day and do data entry, or you write political opinions online or something, you leave the tactile world. And it's an interesting thing. I was talking to Dr. Drew about it the other day on our show, which is, so I was saying to Drew, I was here all last weekend, and I was organizing and sort of cleaning and organizing. I moved out of one warehouse. It all got dumped here, and there's just junk with junk, and everything is sort of cattywampus, and the sockets, the mechanic sockets are with the drywall screws and stuff, and I just need to separate and clean. And so I was saying to Dr. Drew, I said, it's weird, but I went out and went to church on Easter, and then went to brunch, and I found myself sitting there going, so we went to church, and then it was time to go to brunch, and I was saying to my girlfriend, maybe I'll just hit the shop and you guys go to brunch. And they're like, what? You want to come to brunch and hear how rich everyone's family are so you can get disappointed, right? And I go, well, you're right. I don't want to miss that conversation where people are comfortable and I'm the uncomfortable. But okay. But I kept sort of going, why don't you just and the girls go to brunch and then I'll just slink on over to the shop, because I was jonesing to get over here to do a task that was repetitive, kind of boring and unenviable. Like most people, like I couldn't get my kids to do it. They'd complain too much, but I was wanted to do it. And I said to Drew, years ago, and I can't remember the syndrome, but there's a syndrome that humans have where you're physically compelled to eat dirt. And he shouted it out immediately, but it escapes me now. But it's because you need iron. And so you're like, why are you eating dirt? That doesn't seem good. And the person would be like, I don't know why I want to eat dirt, but I want to eat dirt. And then it's your body telling you got to eat dirt. It's like your reptilian brain going, you need iron or whatever's in dirt that you need this to eat. Oh, pica. Yeah. It's called pica. Yeah. So I'd always stuck in my head, like, your body will just push you into doing something that doesn't make sense or doesn't sound attractive to anybody because it knows what it needs it. You know what I mean?
Of course. So.
And so I was like, why am I trying to get out of brunch to go sort drywall screws in a warehouse? And I realized, I need it.
Yeah.
I need it. And I spent the whole weekend here just sorting stuff out. And like Sunday, I was just here alone, like all day, just kind of sorting stuff and looking at stuff. And I was like, doesn't feel like a good use of my time per se. You know, if you break it down, I would get thousands of dollars an hour to do what I do for a living.
Yeah.
This is nothing. This is kind of grunt scrub stuff, you know, pay somebody, pay some kid to do it, you know. Why are you doing it, you know? And then I was like, I need it. And I'm compelled to do it. And I think people are ignoring that thing that they got to get back to it.
Yeah.
And they're going nuts and they're not getting out. And you know, for a lot of people, it can be nature, but for me, it's like I like organizing and fixing
You
and
sort
building.
of hacked your brain into in getting dopamine from tasking and accomplishing tasks. I noticed yesterday I got a bunch of like weird odds and ends, like busy work. You know, I love holding the pads. I love working the guys out. I love training, but I just did some adulting.
Yeah.
And I suddenly was like, wow, I feel great afterwards. It's something that's kind of lost in the internet age.
That's how I always feel. Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel like you accomplished something. You worked
Right?
with your hands, or even if it was something minor, you feel
Just
like
check the
you
box.
achieved. Yeah.
Yeah, people, it's being swept under the rug. It's not being talked about. It's not like a political subject.
Yeah.
You know, it says nothing. No one ever brings it up. No one, you know, we've removed all the shop classes from the junior highs and the
Yeah.
high schools.
It's
We've
messed
gotten
up.
away with it. And we decide that everyone's greatest life would be to learn coding.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That isn't it. Those people kill themselves. They get fat. And they go nuts,
Yeah.
and they get addicted to the internet and everything else. Like sitting and coding is not what we're meant to do. We're meant to be on our feet, doing things with purpose, and a little is what Drew calls a little ordinary misery. Just a little bit of that. You got to sprinkle
Yeah.
that in all the time. And also, there's like a thing where you need a sense. I was looking around back here on a Sunday, and I pulled this big banner out, 5-6 foot tall by like 14 feet. And it's a big vinyl banner from I don't know what, when we did some car show somewhere to put up at the booth or whatever. And I like looked at it and I was like, I'm going to hang this thing up here. And I was just alone. It's kind of a two-manner because
Yeah.
it was big, you know? And I was like, all right, I'm doing this. And I just kind of worked it out. Like I was like, all right, what do I do? I'm going to use zip ties. I'm going to use wire, but how am I going to hold this thing up? Wire. It's kind of a two-manner. But I think I can figure this one out. And then the ladder was a little sketchy, and a lot of guys have gone down, you know. And so I got the ladder, but it wasn't quite right. So I bought the door chalk from the front and put it under the thing so it wouldn't slide on me, and so blah blah blah. And then it took a while, but I did it.
Yeah.
And then at some point, my girlfriend came to pick me up, and she like walked around, and she's just this huge banner hanging there. She goes, You did that? You put that up? And I go, yeah. She goes, you did alone? I go, yeah, I did alone. She goes, wow. And I go, wow, that felt good.
Yeah.
Just that little wow. And then she ruined it. She goes, you're going to kill yourself. I said, all right. But that little moment where someone goes, you did the thing with the... I lived for that. Like when I worked, there'd be, like when I worked construction, there'd be a huge pile of drywall in the driveway. And the foreman guy'd go, like, I'm going to Terry Lumber, start moving the drywall up and upstairs and put in the master bedroom, you know, and I'd go, okay. And then he'd leave. And I'd go, I'm going to get it all up there.
Yes.
I'm going to get it all up there. And then he'd come back and he'd go, you got it all up there? And I go, yes, I did. You know, you did that yourself? You got it all? And then I've only been gone for an hour. And I go, yep, got it all. And I go, wow. Versus now, which is weird, when I see everyone, I go do this thing or clean this thing, and they go, oh, okay. And then at some point I come back and I go, hey, this looks like crap. You didn't do it. And they go, yeah, okay. But I'm like, why? I don't know. Why don't you want that feeling?
Yeah.
What is that?
I got
you guys
the
know what
feeling
I'm talking about?
Show the guy the move. Show the guy the move. Show the guy the move. Over and over again. Then he busts it in sparring. And then there's just a quick glance over at me.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm like,
You're
yeah.
right.
Like, don't say anything, bud. Get back to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What that feeling, which feels good, versus almost everyone I deal with where I just circle back around. I go, you didn't do what I told you to do, and you didn't do it right, and it's still a mess. And they go, Okay.
Yeah.
That's weird, right?
And that's that feeling I used to get helping my uncle's roof. Like, what it reminded me of, they'd have these big packs of shingles that weighed like 60 pounds.
Oh, yeah, I'm
And
well
it's like,
acquainted.
you'd have to bring them up the ladder. And I remember it was like, you can only take one of those at a time. And it was that thing where I'm like, I can probably get to, I'll find a way. And it's like,
mine
you
were
go
40.
up there.
They're 40 pound,
Yes.
and then I walk up the
You go up the ladder, you shimmy up there. But you're like, I did it, and I got them both up
It's
there.
so weird because there's so many tools now.
Yes.
And like, where was that? Where was that? I go by job sites. I see the conveyor belt now, and they're just
I've
putting the
seen it
roof
too,
that's just all going right at the top. I see guys walk around. They got the drywall dolly. You know, it's just I was like, why did I have the drywall on my head? Like I was some. Like, first off, like it was 500 years ago, and I was getting water, in Africa with a gourd on my head. Like, why was I? We had to sheathe. From roofing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sheathing, also roofing. By the way, they charge roofing, they go by the square, which is 10 foot by 10 foot, it's 100 square feet. So people will know if you talk to roofers, they go, how much a square, or how much is way a square, what's the cost, what's that roofing, what's the 3-tab presidential cost versus the 10-year, the 10-year tar one or whatever. They go, it's this much a square. They'll talk in squares. So I was doing earthquake rehab downtown, and we had to sheathe an entire huge apartment building's roof. We had to sheathe it with plywood, tear up the old plywood and skin it. When figure out how to get like 500 sheets of plywood onto a roof of a 4-story building. No genie lift, no crane, no nothing. It took the whole crew, one guy on each fire escape platform.
Yeah.
2 guys at the bottom with the huge pallets of plywood. They'd send it up to the first, and all you did was stand there for probably about 4 hours and just next sheet up, next sheet up. You just grabbed it. You're leaning over the fire escape. The sheet comes up. You grab it. Slide it up as high as you can get it, and the next dude reaches down and grabs it. And there's some dude at the top fire escape who then throws it to the dude on the roof.
Yeah.
That's how we did it.
Yep.
Like ants.
Like ants.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Same way that if they'd invented plywood 1,000 years ago, that's the same way they would have got it to the roof.
Tutankhamun would be making you put that plywood to the pyramids.
And now there's all this ergonomically correct everything.
Yeah.
Didn't have any of it.
Yeah.
Even the tools, like you hold a cordless drill now, it's meant for your hands. It's got a little rubber thing on it, it's shaped to the right.
Yeah.
Stuff was just cold and hard and square, and here you go. There wasn't any of it.
Yeah.
We didn't even have gloves for stuff. They got like 30 different style of gloves now. They're like, are you doing rough? Are you doing finish? Are you doing surgery? Like, we'll give you the glove you need.
Yeah.
We didn't have gloves. Like, you change transmission fluids. It's all over the place, right?
Yeah.
You kids. And now they won't even do it. You can't even get people to do construction anymore.
Yeah, and if your girlfriend said you're going to kill yourself doing it, but at least you die doing something you love, doing something that you should have had 2 people there helping.
I know. Well, the times I've always sort of almost died was definitely a 2-manner.
Yeah.
And I was doing it. I was going solo on a 2-manner.
Yeah.
That was definitely can't wait for somebody to show up. Yep. And so it was like I'm staring at this huge banner. And I'm looking up where I want to put it, and I'm like, okay, but I need to do this now, is what I was thinking, and I can't get anyone to do it. And then everyone else would go, do it Monday when someone's here. And I'd go,
hit me up, bud.
I should hit you up.
Yeah. Make sure you don't die to just hold the ladder at least. Good Lord.
Pica is a compulsive eating disorder which people eat non-food items.
Yeah. Like ashes, I've seen. Yeah, it's some strange stuff.
Yeah, but basically I'm using it as a metaphor, which is your body will tell you what you need to do. And I live in a world of ideas and arguments and jokes and nothingness and thoughts. And I'm like, I need to do silent, quiet, boring, repetitive, task-oriented with a goal. Like I have to then step back and go, oh, it's up.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
You did anything like that? Embroidery?
No, not embroidery, but even small. I rent. Like I live in an apartment in Toluca Lake.
Toluca Lake, yes, you got it.
I've learned.
That's where it is.
Like the other day, if something breaks in the apartment, like the dishwasher or like a towel rack broke off the wall, the brackets broke. I know I can call the maintenance person to do that, but there's that thing where it's just like, nah, I have time today. I want to do it myself,
Sneak
whatever
the
it is.
drain?
Yeah, so there's just those little things where it's like I just want to feel like I fixed it myself.
Well, that's a
rather
good.
than rather than calling somebody and then I'm just hanging out or watching TV
sometimes
or
I
doing
just punch
something
a hole in the wall so
just so you can drywall it again. Yeah.
He gets his girlfriend to dump him just so he can do some drywall
I need
work.
to feel some rage. Yeah.
Got a trowel?
It's interesting. I'm writing down something I was trying to think of when I was talking to Drew, but this is a good point that you stumbled onto. You should get a merit badge for stumbling onto
I'll
this
just see if
point,
I have that one.
which is okay. If you rent and if you have a modern car, then you're never going to know what it's like to go put a coat of paint on the fence in the back or the fascia or fix up the thing or put some tile down in the spare bathroom or whatever, because you're a renter and you're driving a car that is either electric or runs off computer chips. I mean, you pop the hood, you just see a big plastic cover. You don't even see any moving parts. Right. Now, we drove cars that you fixed yourself, and there was a lot of and we lived in old houses. We used to have chimneys. And so we'd be like, you'd have to go fix stuff. Like, so we didn't have any money. And so there's like a lot of guys I grew up with. I mean, a common thing would be, I'd be like, what are you doing this weekend? And they'd be like, well, I'm going to put a set of spark plugs in my truck. I got to get them. I got to gap them. I got to put them in. And I'm going to rebuild the carburetor, and then that dude would just be rebuilding his carburetor all weekend. And there's no carburetor to rebuild anymore. And if you're renting, so if you're like a young person and you're living in Los Angeles, for sure, you're renting because it's way too expensive to afford a house. And you're Ubering around, or you got some Mini Cooper that's 2 years old that you don't even know where the engine is on that thing. And now you've removed two major tactile sanity things that you think you've avoided. You think you avoided having to do the spark plugs and jet the carburetor or whatever, but you didn't. You're getting sedentary. Yeah. And your brain's starting to eat itself. And I was talking to Drew about it, I think, and I was talking to Jay Moore about it, but I realized just the concept of having a bike that you had to constantly work on. Like when I was a kid, I was constantly wrenching on my bike, but also the concept of forts.
Oh, yeah.
Forts were a big part of my childhood. It was like digging in the dirt and finding stuff, to act as a barrier,
I'm with you. Yeah.
And we built forts.
Rock wars?
Yeah, we got into every war.
Okay.
And we tried to do more dirt clods.
Yeah.
We weren't as vicious as you guys were. But we had dirt clod fights big time, and we had to build a fort in order to protect yourself from and it was a thing. It was like a thing you put yourself into, and not only did you get the experience of building the fort, but you're in the dirt. Your immune system was working because you were shoveling through the dirt. And so the other thing kids don't do that we had to do was we did forts and we did models.
Oh, yeah.
Kids don't do models anymore. Model is like take it apart, segregate it and label it and figure it out, read the instructions, kind of go in order.
You kind of got Minecraft now. That's similar. That's like what it is today.
And you'd paint the little stuff and you'd get the little tester's glue and huff it a little bit, a little high. But it was a thing. It was like a task.
Yeah.
It was a big thing of model. So between like models and forts and working on your BMX bike and stuff, you were pretty tactile. Like you were good. And then there's all the sports and all the outdoor stuff. And now they're like, don't go outside. The sun's bad for you. And there's no models anymore. And there's just screens everywhere. And I think kids are starting to eat their own brains. And they need the Eagle Scout.
yeah.
Where is the Eagles? Is it easier to become Eagle Scout now? You're saying.
So I honestly don't know. I don't know if they've lowered the requirements for it. I just know that something about the attitude of the scouting seems to have changed. So I don't know what the actual requirements are these days.
And I think it does. I mean, scouting, it's basically going to do, it's essentially what the Oscars did. They're like, we want to be super inclusive. We want to represent all. And then at some point, kids go, nah.
Yeah, it takes something special.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as special somehow.
Yeah, I don't need to be a scout, and I don't need to watch the Oscars, because who cares?
Yeah.
I don't
you
understand
guys,
why
you
they're
ruined it.
trying to homogenize the culture. You know, a lot of advanced culture, like Japan, like women are proud to be women and do womanly duties, and that's like a real thing. And men are happy to be manly, and it functions okay. But
yeah, we had a system. It worked pretty good.
Yeah.
And we tested it for like, I don't know, 10,000 years, and it worked pretty good. Yeah. And then the last 15 minutes, somebody had some thoughts about changing the system, and now everyone's fat and cuts on themselves. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe they knew something. Maybe the old white folks knew something. Maybe that's all. Speaking of old and white, I was watching Michelle Obama on her podcast, who has this weird, everything with her is through some sort of racial lens all the time, which is just a weird, like she'll say it, she'll go, well, you don't know what it's like to be black and be invisible, and then someone will go like, well, like, what are you talking about? You're the first lady or something. She'll go, well, the other day I was buying frozen yogurt and somebody went in front of me in line, and I'm like, oh yeah, that never happened to white people. Like, it's like, yeah, that's just stuff that happens all the time to everybody all the time. You know what I mean? Like, who doesn't have a story about being? I remember during COVID when they were doing the stupid, I don't know, they were going to cure COVID by telling people to stand in different places or something. Like, it was so weird. It's like at the Malibu Whole Foods or whatever. And their way to cure COVID was to not have everyone stand in the checkout line, but to form a second line that was 10 feet over where they just stood in line. I don't know why that helped, but... And so, like, I would come strolling up and go, oh, there's nobody at the register, you know, because I'm coming from the other direction, and I just go up thing, and then there's like, you know, excuse you. And I'm like, what? There's no waiting. And then they go, no, there's a line. And I'm like, oh. I think what it is, I think the Malibu Whole Foods was smart because they put their line in the hot deli entree section, and you couldn't stand there smelling Kung Pao chicken for more than 5 minutes. I go, let me get in a little bit here. You know what? I'm gonna add to this. Yeah, smart. You sit in that hot deli, with all the hot dishes, and you're just sitting there. You cannot. You got to load up. You have to load up. Salad doesn't smell like anything, so you can walk past that all day. But the savory stuff, you're like, let me get into this here. Smart. Okay, so she is. She's just everything is like race.
Well, and what confused me about that is I get maybe making the argument that she thinks some black people have to deal with that. But who sees Michelle Obama at the store and is like, I'm going to go butt in front of First Lady Michelle Obama?
Hey, but I needed my yogurt.
She was cut off.
Yeah. I don't know, but this
sounds.
I just came upon this one today, but so it's you know, like they're obnoxious, they're grandiose, and they're narcissists, supreme narcissists, and I hate them. But there is a part of me that feels sorry for them. That if this is the way you go through life, and your Ivy League degree, and you're married to an ex-president, and your 7 houses, and your 5 houses, and your Martha's Vineyard, and your Hawaiian compound, if that doesn't cure it, I just feel bad for you. I really do. You still have to walk around with this racial limp. You're just constantly, it's as if you were like molested when you were 7, and it just never leaves your mind. And you can't do anything about it. It just is. You know what I mean? Here's our clip. Sorry.
We don't articulate as Black women our pain because it's almost like nobody ever gave us permission to do that.
And does anyone care?
Yeah, there's no.
All right, hold on. She should go on the internet because I see Black women articulating their pain at airports. I see Black women like at airports that are very vividly articulating themselves because they missed a flight or somebody disrespected them. So I would argue that there are isolated incidents of black women expressing themselves. I would say you could probably use their phone. It might take a while, but I could probably pull up some examples of it for Michelle to speak of. But then also, I'm now at the point where I don't blame the person. I blame the person who sits next to them and goes, because I would hit them with a folding chair and go, oh, shut up. You know what you're talking about. You have a security detail. Like when you leave this studio, which one of the 7 houses are you going to? How about that? Let's say when you're in Maui at one of your compounds, can you articulate your pain there, or is that a Martha's Vineyard type situation? Yeah. All right, sorry, run it again, just because it's always the person that goes, I love the newscast. I love it when they go, yeah, these Trinidad guys are being transported back to Nicaragua, but they can come for them. They can come for any of us. Someone goes, shut up. They're not coming for you. You'll never go. I'll tell you what, right now. I will put up $100,000 to your $40. That's what I'm going to pay on if you are swept up and disappeared in the next 5 years. How about that? We'll do that. You want to do it? You want to take that bet? Yeah. Which they wouldn't. All right, sorry. We'll play it again.
We don't articulate as Black women our pain because it's almost like nobody ever gave us permission to do that.
And does anyone care?
Yeah, there's
Will
that.
they care?
If we knew, I think we would care. If we knew.
That's a brother.
If we knew.
Or, and we have to ask ourselves, the men in our lives is, why wait to be asked? It seems like what we go through is pretty obvious. I mean, maybe we're not complaining, but we're actually living life out loud,
We're in some sort of nether region of verbiage where I don't even know what women are talking about half the time.
I know, yeah.
It's
Keenan
just
Thompson
his
should have said
platitudes and
something.
stuff.
Yeah,
Like that.
Keenan should have piped up. By the way, he's the brother, and he knows she's been living in the White House. I mean, flying private.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's sitting there. He was working at the Target.
She's got to play the hits, though. You know what I mean? It's like asking the Rolling Stones not to play Brown Sugar.
Yeah, good.
Oh, wait.
Good connection there. But the brother. That brother has watched her in the last 20 years and went,
right?
You cry me a river.
Yeah.
Cry me a river about your pain.
He's got a 92 Buick.
He's going back in his 92 Buick that he got from Oprah. He's going back to his apartment, his rent-controlled one-bedroom outside of D.C. while she gets her security detail and climbs in the back of a limo and flies an Air Force 3 somewhere, And like she's like, he wants to jump in, but he can't say anything because he wouldn't have a podcast otherwise. Oh, it's so good. She's articulate. I always love this thing where like people are like, we don't feel like we have the right to speak. It's like all you do is talk.
She has a
That's
podcast.
all you do. I know. Now, to be fair, I am tuned out and I am not listening, and I do not feel your pain. That is correct, but you do talk a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talking going on. All right. We'll take a break. We got some news, and we'll do that right after this. Bear. Oh, I love my Bear mattress. I sleep so much better with Bear. Bear mattresses are designed with a focus on recovery, cooling, and pressure relief to upgrade your sleep and improve your overall quality of life. That's right. A good mattress. I've said it a million times. You need a good TV and a good mattress and a good car, and you're pretty much set. Good woman. That'll help too. Bear's Sleep Quiz matches you with your perfect mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. Their award-winning mattresses are made in the US of A with certified clean materials, and they include a limited lifetime warranty. Plus, Bear's sleep recovery technology helps you fall asleep faster, enjoy deeper rest, and wake up rejuvenated. Still not convinced? Sleep on it for up to 120 nights and make sure you love it. If you're not getting the best sleep of your life, they'll pick it up and refund your money. No hassles. It's Bear Mattress, right, Dawson?
Go to bearmattress.com and use promo code Adam at checkout to get 40% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. You have to use Adam's code on the very last page of checkout to get this discount. That's bearmattress.com and use promo code Adam to get 40% off site-wide. Bearmattress.com, promo code Adam.
Morgan & Morgan. Here's a dirty little secret that the insurance industry may not want you to know. I think they're going to try to keep this one under wraps, but they haven't. We've blown the lid off it. Insurance companies profit by holding on to your money as long as possible. After an accident, they might do whatever they can do to delay or deny your claim. This way, they can keep their profits growing. Morgan & Morgan fights hard against these corporations to fight to make sure you get every dollar you deserve. If you're injured or something's been done wrong and you deserve compensation, Lord knows, with these Malibu fires, I'm all up in that right now. When Morgan & Morgan takes on a case, they're almost always going after the big insurance companies and not the individuals at fault. There's a reason why Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury firm. And you'll find out when you do business with these gentlemen and ladies. It's Morgan & Morgan. Am I right, Dawson?
Hiring the wrong firm could be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. With Morgan & Morgan, it's easy to get started, and their fee is free unless they win. Just visit forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law #529. That's forthepeople.com/Adam or dial #law #529. This is a paid advertisement.
In addition to being a writer, I also have 2 karate trophies and 3 weightlifting trophies. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but you can just go to the store and buy trophies.
Adam Yenser is on the Adam Carolla Show.
Adam's got a very funny dry bar special, not big enough to cancel, and that's out. And then mine is out when I would tell people where to go, but it's not on my little screen anymore. But I would argue you can just leave information on there for me. Yeah.
The Angel app, I believe it is.
The Angel app is where you can go. One is right there. It's free. You can watch my dry bar special there, and the others, you have to get the app. You have to subscribe. But one's there, and you can just go watch, and the other is behind it. And you know what? You can buy trophies.
Yeah.
Because
you just set them on the shelf.
I recreated a few of my trophies. I think I had a girlfriend that did it later on in life. She got tired of hearing my story about I got trophies and unicycles because I had such a hard luck.
Wow.
I got such a hard luck story about unicycles, and I had a hard luck story about trophies. And at some point, people got tired of my hard luck stories and started just giving me trophies that were recreations of the ones I threw away or lost or whatever from back in the day. So that's you can have them.
I would get them from there was some comedy festival or competition I did years ago, and they had trophies for first, second, and third place. But they bought it was like a girls softball trophy with a girl on top, and it just says first place Chicago World Series of Comedy or something on it. So I have that on my shelf, just a girls softball, but it's a comedy award.
I guess at the trophy shop, they don't really have the comedy
like
statue.
a guy with a mic, or a guy humping the
dude
stool
humping
or
the
something.
stool.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it appears to me that they have like a comedy tragedy mask thing for some sort of drama
That feels more
competition.
theater drama.
Theater.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's about all.
I would be more embarrassed of that than a girls softball trophy.
Yeah, girls. How do you know it was a girl?
Because it's got the ponytail. It's got the little
ponytail.
figure. It's got the little figure on top.
Oh, okay. All right, Mayhem News.
We got some news. Animals in the news. A Sunshine State resident took to Reddit to share their frightening experience with 2 creepy reptiles that came up to the home's front door.
Oh, really?
All captured on their family's Ring camera.
Oh, they alligators?
Alligators there in Florida.
Oh, we're going to watch. Oh, they're coming. Oh. Are they in the house?
No, this is in the
Oh, that's the porch.
yeah.
wow.
They're hanging out. They must be looking for dog food or something. Or like, what are they doing?
Yeah, it's undetermined, but they were out there for a while.
You know what? Here's my thing. I was thinking about this the other day. We talk a lot about, Jurassic Park and dinosaurs and stuff like that.
Check that out.
It's trying to climb the wall.
Yeah,
trying to get in the house.
It's like Jurassic Park. It's trying to learn to use the handle and open the
Getting
doors.
smarter, clever girl.
Do we need dinosaurs? We have alligators. Like, we have them. They get up to like 18 foot.
They've outlasted dinosaurs. They were before. This style of animal was popular before dinosaurs and remained after.
That's my argument. Like, we have dinosaurs.
Yeah.
They're called alligators. Yeah. They're covered with scales. They're huge. They're scary. They're billion years old. They'll eat your pet or you. It doesn't matter. Like, what do we really need a dinosaur for? I mean, like I said, it's cool. Like, I'd take it. But an alligator is just a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And it predates it. Yeah, I guess.
Where you come down on woolly mammoths if they can hook that up.
I would like a pterodactyl.
All right, me too, yeah.
Although,
your dog's
if
gone.
they bring back pterodactyls, we're all gone. Birds hate us already.
Yeah.
And birds are the size of a lunch pail and will take you down.
Yeah.
Now, if they get the size of a tractor trailer or something, we're gone.
You're eating French fries at the beach and a pterodactyl comes in at you. It's like,
You'll be the French fry. Yeah,
exactly.
you are done.
Yeah.
They, as best I can tell, birds hate people, and they hate other birds, and they hate everything. They're angry at every living creature. They don't like cats, they don't like dogs, they don't like people, and they do not like other birds. I mean, I see birds, the hawks flying and the crows chasing it and knocking at it, circling around and picking on it. So birds hate everything. They're the meanest creatures, and the only thing that stops them from eating us is they can't physically do it. But if they could, I think they would kill us for sport.
Yes.
I think even like vegan pterodactyls would take us and just throw us in a volcano.
They're just or taking people's heads off.
They just take people's heads off. They hate people. They would hate people. Yeah. All right. Cool. I watched footage. I don't think I even liked it, but I saw a footage of a 74-year-old guy go into a pond and pull his puppy out of an alligator's mouth earlier today.
Yeah.
Well, I saw one earlier this week. I don't know if it was that one. In Florida, there was some guy, and he was barefoot, and he just went out and got a big Rubbermaid trash can.
Yeah.
And came and got the alligator himself.
Yeah.
It reminded me of what we were talking about earlier, where it's like, I could call animal control, but I'll take care of it. I got to do something. I'll get the alligator.
Released from not getting your ankle death
one.
rolled off.
This guy looked like he was at a golf course, maybe.
Yeah,
and his alligator, small alligator's got his puppy in his mouth.
Yep. And he just pries his jaws.
Pries his jaws open.
And look how tough it is, and that's a tiny alligator.
Oh, if he ate my puppy, I'd rush to the pet store just to get a new puppy. Like I'm not going into a swamp. That's just Darwin.
A swamp you can't see the bottom of. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he's still got a cigar in his mouth?
Yeah, like a boss.
I love this dude.
Yeah, this dude is pretty awesome.
You know what I like about this guy, though? See, he's always got a good story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And also, he's going to get into it. Like, I'll tell you what I use. You were talking about, like, TaskRabbit or something, I put a Lamborghini, a vintage Miura Lamborghini, I put it in my office. I just built a building, designed it, built a lift, put it in the office, And so every once in a while, people will say to me, like someone will go like, oh, you're going to hang that bookshelf up there or whatever. And I go, I'll hang it up there. And then someone will go, shouldn't we have the TaskRabbit guy, like a guy who knows? And I go, I put a Lamborghini in my office. And then they shut up. Everyone just shuts up and walks away, right? Because I put a Lamborghini in my office. So this guy's going to be sitting around and his wife's going to be screwing with him, It's like, Earl, why don't we let somebody else resaw it? He'll go, I took that puppy out of the mouth of an alligator. So you don't think I'm up to sodding the lawn? Well, you don't think I'm up there. Like, he's got it all the time. Like when, or it's like the neighbors are playing the music too loud. He's going, I'm going to go over there. And then his wife's going to go, don't bother. You're going to get your ass kicked. Okay. I took that dog out of the mouth. I went into a swamp, fished an alligator out, Didn't put my cigar down.
Yeah.
Didn't put my cigar down. And then took the puppy out of the mouth of the alligator. Okay,
That's the other side of Florida man. That's a Florida man, by the way.
That's a Florida man.
Yep,
He's probably got that image on his home screen on his phone. Just here, remember this?
I would.
He doesn't rest upon his laurels. He's on to the next puppy out of the next mouth.
Yeah. And he's probably like the grandkids are around, and he's like, I'll make them waffles. And his wife's like, don't try to. You're going to okay, remember, you're talking to the guy who took the puppy out of the mouth of the alligator. Remember that? Check the screensaver on your computer. Okay, that's this side. Without putting the cigar out.
Yeah.
I waded into water, and the cigar didn't go out. And the pup, I guess, just ran away. I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, was okay. Is what I'm
Survived.
saying.
Yeah.
Survived. Yes. All right. What else?
All right, next up, Kennedy plans to remove artificial dyes from food and drinks by the end of next year.
He's Hitler.
Yeah, the FDA
That's
has
what Hitler
approved
did.
36 food dyes, 9 of which are artificial, made from petroleum. So they are completely doing away with that. For companies that are currently using petroleum-based red dye, they say try watermelon juice or beet juice. For companies currently combining petroleum-based yellow chemical and red dyes, try carrot juice. So there's alternatives that are natural.
There's nothing more powerful than beet juice because
I know.
you eat Cheetos, they're orange, but the next day in the toilet, that ain't orange. Yeah. But beets, they'll go right through. They make it all the way through. Yeah. They make it down to the sewage treatment plant, and they're still red. So you can't go better than beet.
You're calling your proctologist, just checking.
Oh, well, that's why I invented the beet bracelet. Did I tell you about the beet bracelet?
Sorry, no, I missed that one.
It's an old joke, but I love beets, and by the way, I'll eat 3 beet salads. Like I'll buy a beet the size of a softball. Takes like 4 hours to boil it, man. But I'll get like size. I'll chop that up. I'll salt it up. I'll put a little vinegar and a little oil and whatever. I love it. I'll eat it. Right. But the next day on the pot, I forgot I ate the beet. And that's where you look down and go, oh, call the kids. Get your kids in the room. Bring them toilet side. I want to talk to them. I got to say my last word. Get my practical Bible, my Tony Bennett CD, and that note. Let's go. So I invented the beet bracelet, which is when you order the beet salad at the restaurant that night, it comes with the beet bracelet. And
are
you
we
just
talking like boondoggle style, like those beads? Or
I call it Beats by Ace.
Yeah,
and it's a Lance Armstrong style. It's purple. Red purple. It's just a rubber band, and you just put it on, and then you're good, right?
Yep.
And then you remember. Now it's funny. And you would run into other people had a beet bracelet, like on the elevator. Somebody go, hey. That's funny. Yeah.
It's like a hospital bracelet. Also, if somebody else uses the bathroom after you and they wonder what happened,
yes,
like,
yes.
He has a condition
he has
for the day.
beet bracelet. Yeah, give him a few minutes. You want to let it air out. He's got the beet bracelet. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're doing away with the artificial dyes by the end of next year.
Good, and who cares? And also, what I don't have any. There's nothing from my mom, who's like original health food hippie, when they had like health food stores and stuff, and it was like weird, and everything was sort of off market, like it wasn't a trend, But the only thing that ever stuck with me in terms of her, but it was also just who I was, is I didn't like fake stuff. Like I'd see young kids, and they'd be eating Kraft singles of cheese, and they'd drinking Sunny D, and I'd go, you got any real orange juice? And they go, Sunny D, it's better. I'd go, no, it's not. It's weird. It's weird. And I go, you got any cheddar cheese? And they go, we got cheese. Kraft cheese. And I'd go, yeah, no, it's weird. It's weird. And what they've done to nachos, I see people, it's weird. I was at the Dry Bar, and the people, I was in the room with Mike August, eat anything, but they'll go like, we're going to get some nachos. I'm like, nachos needs cheese to melt on it, not a pump station.
Yeah.
Like that.
And it's this color?
Yes. It's orange,
Yellow.
weird day glow, whatever, and it never melts, and it doesn't need to be heated, and it comes in a bag,
That's
and
weird.
you pump it. I was like, no.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't like nachos? I'm like, I like nachos, but the chips are round. That's not chip.
Weird.
That's not a normal shape for a chip.
Yep.
And the cheese is liquid, and it's sitting in the back. And no. And they're like, we like nachos. And I go, but those aren't nachos.
Yeah.
They're not nachos. And also, we don't give the right name because when you're at the ballpark or the whatever, and someone goes, "You like nachos? Get some nachos." I'm like, "Yeah, I love nachos, but not this."
Yeah.
These aren't nachos. These are fake chemical, weird nachos that dumb people have decided taste good over generations.
Yeah.
And fake orange juice tastes weird. Fake cheese tastes fake everything orange, everything blue and stuff. Like, why are you eating
the
stuff
big
that's
one is
weird?
Red number 3, which gives the food and drinks a cherry color. It's a bright. It's all marketing.
I
It's
don't
all
like
marketing
Jimmy's.
things.
I don't even like Jimmy's. I can't send someone out to buy donuts and have them come back with normal donuts, all red, white, and blue with the sparklers on top and the gay flag and stuff. And I'm like, it tastes weird. Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Why are you putting a bunch of non-nature colors in your food and then ingesting
the
it?
donut was cream filled. Yeah. So
And I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe it's, I don't know what their reason is, if it's a price thing or whatever, but it's always weird when they say they're replacing it. And it's like, or you can use carrots. There's always some
Yeah.
alternate.
Right,
It's like,
right.
why did you
Absolutely
go
right,
to
yeah.
petroleum when it was, or you could use something that's not petroleum?
yeah,
It's just cheaper and whatever. There's a bag of chips back there. There's a bag of chip in the chip basket back there that was donated after the fire. I got some sort of emergency bucket or something that had junk in it. I don't know. It had like a snake bite kit and a mask and chips or something from the local whatever that is. Yeah, can you hold that up? Let me see what that is. Yeah, throw it in here. Have some bring it in here because I stared at this chip bag. It's the wrong colors. It's stuff has a color.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's weird. It's like, look, if you're a Corvette, you're a Corvette. You can do whatever color you want. But there's chips and this chip bag. I just kept staring at it, going, these are the wrong.
Oh, wow.
These are the wrong colors.
Yeah.
The chips look blue, and it's called Blue Heat, but they're chips.
Oh, you mean
But I don't
the
want-
actual
I don't
chip
want-
is blue?
Yeah.
I was scared to open it. Like I was like, this looks like cleaning pods come in here, but not stuff you put in your
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
And it's called Blue Heat, and I guess they're blue. Now I want to know, so I'm going to open it. Potatoes, vegetable oil, canola oil, palm oil,
Yeah.
every oil, everything all the time.
Yeah, my
Oh
story-
yeah.
They're blue.
They're blue.
Wow, yeah,
I don't
that
want them.
looks strange.
It's weird. But why? Why? And here's the other thing too. What's appetizing about blue? Like, and people do this stuff all the time. They go, it's fun. You know, it's fun. You put
Yeah,
this stuff.
it's
I don't know.
kitschy,
Okay,
yeah.
so a porterhouse steak may not be fun, but it's good. Why?
Put a little red 3 on it. It's way more fun.
People disappoint
I also
me.
found out that they use citrus red number 2 to make oranges like more orange. It's all marketing. Like a lot of
I
this
get
is
it.
to get people to draw their eye to the groceries and grab them.
I get it. It's bad. He's right. I don't know what's going on. Everyone's fat. Everyone's depressed. Everyone's on pharmaceuticals. Everyone has on the spectrum for something, and something's going on. So let him do it, everybody, and leave him alone. I mean, for Christ's sake, just leave the guy alone. He's trying to do something. By the way, I just had 4 years of watching he-she's tell us about pronouns who did
Absolutely,
nothing.
yeah.
Who you guys did nothing. So I don't know. I know you're all upset that Elon's trying to do something in RFK Jr. I know. You hate seeing people do stuff, but you guys were like my mom in the chimney. Just here we are. Nothing we can do.
Yeah.
Just homeless and traffic, and here we go.
Yeah.
So, okay, someone's trying to do something, and I realize it's upsetting to the process people when you actually show up and go, what's going on? What are we doing? They go, what are we doing? We're having a meeting about a meeting with a meeting in it, and you go, I know, but what's going on? Let's get the chimney going. My mom would literally get agitated if you showed up and went, what's going on? What are we doing here? Let's get going here. when I stood up and I was like, give me the hairdryer.
Yeah.
Hold my beer. Everyone's like, where's he going with the hairdryer? No, he's fixing the pianos. But I guess I was shaming all of them and they didn't like it.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at now. We're going to do stuff. Blue flames are the hottest, followed by white. After that, yellow, orange, and red. There's chip. Everything doesn't.
Oh, that's why the chips are named that?
Yeah, the hottest of the hot.
Okay. Not everything needs to be categorized or marked up or whatever. The blue flame.
I agree with you on all this. I'm self-conscious now about doing the Michelle Obama nod to when you're like, what's happened to nachos? And
Yeah.
I'm like,
You know what else is a blue flame, right? Fart.
Yeah. It's a blue flame special. Yeah.
A loneliness epidemic is
The
hitting
blue
the country.
flame was the name of the vehicle that had the world salt flat speed record from the late 60s, early 70s. I think that rocket car was called the Blue Flame.
I remember that. I think you're right.
I think you can look it up, but I think it was called the Blue Flame, but I got to think about that. Maybe Craig Breedlove or something. God, that's a curse, isn't it?
what's that?
Your husband is obsessed with the land speed record and he's in the garage every waking moment welding.
Yeah.
Right?
Tinkering all day, yeah.
Yeah. Is it called the Blue Flame? Yeah, it was called the Blue Flame.
Yeah, I
it was
remember
called the
this.
Blue Flame. These poor wives. I think the guy, Craig Breedlove, I don't know, was that Craig Breedlove who did it? Hey, he built the Blue Flame. I think he was the Blue Flame. I can't remember, but he built it in his garage in like Arleta. He was just out there all day. And it was so big that in order to take it out, they had to like take out a shrub and a wall or something. I'm like saying his wife. What kind of mood was she in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no money in it. There's no anything. It's just you get obsessed with this thing that will probably kill you one day. Oh, this is driven by Gary Galbalich and achieved the world land speed record in Bonneville, Salt Flats, Utah in October 1970, so right about the time my chimney was coming down. he was taking down the record. And I was a little kid going, that Blue Flame, look at that. Man, that is cool.
It was on
Rocket
TV
car.
then.
Probably on Wide World of Sports.
Oh, cool.
I mean, this is 1970, and I think this guy got up to 500 and something miles an hour with this thing. I don't think he broke the sound barrier, but he was.
His cheeks were flapping.
Well, the speed, I would include the speed in this little dissertation, Andrew, just because that's what you're doing. 630 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Whoa. 1970. All analog, man. No computers. Just a jet.
That's great.
And 3 wheels. That's crazed, right?
Yeah.
And also, the thing that's funny, she's probably wearing a 1970s open face helmet. Like, hey, don't forget your helmet. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well, if the tire blows or a coyote runs out
At 630 miles per hour.
even if it's a shade under 630, let's just say we're in the high fives. I'm not sure this wisp of fiberglass with the foam rubber in it. I don't really think. I'd rather look cool stepping out of this thing. Yeah. So that was. Hold on. Kilometers, whatever, speed, FIA. So the vehicle set FIA world record for the flying quarter mile. You got to do it twice, too. You got to go one way and you got to come back, too. It's not a lark or something. But anyway, I can't tell what this is, but, it's the flying kilometer. Anyway, 630 miles an hour. Not too bad.
Not bad at all.
Now they're up around 1,000.
Really?
They're
Wow.
trying to break 1,000 miles an hour. British.
What does that machine look like? You know, is it? I imagine the design has to be similar. It has to be low.
No, that one, the new one has 4 wheels, and the last one was like in the mid or later 90s. And I don't know, they got up to like 800 or 900 miles an hour. And they're going to try to break 1,000, but I don't know that they have a space to do it in because the salt flats have like eroded or flooded or whatever that thing is, which is 763 miles an hour in 97. So that's about it's about as far like the only stand I would ever take for climate change would be who's going to set world speed records with those salt flats. I don't care about any of the crap you guys are talking about, but I do need space to set a record.
Dude, that's just an engine. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
They look like Looney Tunes wacky racer
You're
cars.
right. Yeah.
yeah. This guy was a British pilot. The British have it, so we don't have the speed record.
Dang, gotta
be
take
nice
that
to get
back.
nice to get it back. Yeah. All right, Adam and Mayhem. We got Jordan Harmon, who runs Angel Studios, who's waiting for us in the wings. So, well, you guys can hang out. We'll just take a quick break, and we'll talk to Jordan right after this. Rough greens. Oh, man. Philly cheesesteak loves himself some rough greens. Sometimes in life, you want to get to the truth. You got to crunch those numbers. Naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, creator of Rough Greens, tells us that unfortunately 50% of all dogs over 10 years of age will die of cancer. Sad but true. But Dennis, he didn't sit back on his hind legs and do nothing about it. He invented Rough Greens. And it's about the diet. Your dog doesn't have a good diet. And good news, there's Rough Greens. So there's thousands of testimonials and 5-star reviews. Every month, Rough Greens is number one on the all-natural dog supplement charts. They're number one in America. So you don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's diet. You just sprinkle Rough Greens over the existing food. It's not a big hassle for you. It's easy and it's fresh. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens. It's that easy. Right, Dawson?
Fetch a free Jumpstart trial bag for your dog today. Go to roughgreens.com. Just use promo code Adam. That's RUFF greens.com and use promo code Adam and just cover shipping. You don't have to change your dog's food to improve your dog's health. Just add a scoop of Rough Greens.
Select quote. There's so many things in life we just never get around to. Taking up that hobby, cleaning out the garage, the little things that really make the difference in our lives. Yet there's one thing that most of us probably been neglecting for a long time. It makes a huge impact on your family's future. It's life insurance. And with Select Quote, getting covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you may think. If you've got high blood pressure, no problem. If you have diabetes, that's fine too. Even if you have heart disease, Select Quote partners with carriers that can cover those conditions and others. Head to selectquote.com, and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away and see what the right policy is for your life and your budget. It's Select Quote, right, Dawson?
Select Quote. They shop, you save. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/Carolla. Go to selectquote.com/Carolla today to get started. That's selectquote.com/Carolla. Adam Carolla Comes Clean. Now available from Angel Studios.
I was pulling off the freeway. I was at a stoplight, and I looked over, and there was a homeless guy, and he's just sitting there, and he had a sign that said homeless and deaf. And I thought, I've never seen that before. I kind of looked at him, and I started to think, like, okay, normally it's like, I'm not going to give you money so you can go buy drugs. But this guy's deaf, and maybe he has a real situation. And I kind of looked at the guy, and he looked at me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And he came over, and I rolled the window down, and I started fishing around my ashtray, get a few bucks out for the guy, and I thought, let me just check something real quick. And I just leaned on the horn, and this guy jumped back 5 feet, and I was like, you ain't deaf, and I ain't dumb.
Watch Adam Carolla Comes Clean free on Angel at angel.com/Adam free. And join the Angel Guild and save 50% on your first 3 months at angel.com/Adam Carolla. Adam Carolla Comes Clean. Now available through Angel Studios. Let's get back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Co-founder of Angel Studios, Jordan Harmon, has joined us.
Hey, Adam.
From your studio, right? Your facility.
Yeah, here in Provo, Utah.
It's really beautiful. It's a real beautiful place. It's a great place that you guys set up over there, and it's nice. You bought a few buildings, right? You built it out. You do a lot of all the dry bars are shot there. Is that correct?
Yeah, everything's shot there. From dry bar, it's been, that stage has been seen billions of times.
Yeah, it's nice because they don't strike it. Everything in Hollywood, you kind of build it and then you strike it, then you put it back and then you strike it down again. But all the lighting, all of the technology and the sound and everything, it's all just there in this
Yep.
building that I don't know if it was an old theater. I don't know what that building was.
Well, it was originally like a bar with a stage for kind of performances and whatnot. And then it kind of rotated through a couple ownerships, and then we kind of got a hold of it, cleaned it up, gutted it out, and launched our first show, which was Dry Bar Comedy. And man, it's been a wild ride since 2016 doing that.
I really like how you guys have sort of upset the system. I'm as somebody who hated the system and sort of was punished by the system and sort of worked outside of the system. I'm just so happy to hear stories, and there's a lot of them now, of people, personalities, and companies and stuff that sort of went around the system, because the system relies on basically having a monopoly. And so they force and scare and cajole people into their system who don't agree with it, but they're scared. And that's the thing I hated about the system. All people coming up to me on sets and like whispering that they agreed with me about stuff and looking over their shoulder like they're Moranos back in the day. Like, I'm Jewish, but I'm scared. I don't want people to know. I don't want to be gathered up and brought somewhere. And it's sad. And that's it's so un-American what they force these people into, and it's the people who never stop complaining about McCarthyism that scared everyone for their jobs. And so, God bless people like you.
Man, it gets and the byproduct of that is you end up with the weird, kind of Harvey Weinstein type situations that were allowed to continue for so long because everybody was just scared to talk about anything.
Yes.
But I mean, the way the system can excel, and the reason we're so one of the things I want to tell you today is your next special is live right now. So people can watch it right now. And the reason this is possible because the first one did well, and we want to continue to have Angel Guild members not only sign up and support this incredible stand-up comedy, but the more people that we have do this, then you get Adam's special number 3 and 4 and like I would love for this to be a constant opportunity for not just Adam, but other stand-up comedians who want to break into an industry and want to have meaningful impact in terms of like getting their comedy out there. And so, you can actually go to adam.com or angel.com/ I believe it's, what's the URL? It's Adam Carolla. You get 50% off your first 3 months of the Angel Guild membership. When you do this, you are supporting Adam's show, his special, which is Comes Cleaner. But I just want your audience to understand that like the only way this is possible is if they continue to support this type of alternative mechanism. Otherwise, these alternative mechanisms dry up. And so we've got to make sure that we support stand up like what Adam's doing. You guys supported his first one. Let's buckle down and support his second one in a huge way and just get it to be bigger and bigger and bigger.
Amen, brother. And that's coming from an atheist. So I liked everything about Provo. I love it's clean. It's beautiful. The mountains are beautiful. Like it was just I found it to be literally like a breath of fresh air. Like it just smells better. It's a little,
It smells
little
better.
tough getting that drink after the show, you know. I like to have a cocktail after.
Yeah, you're not getting that at Dry-Bar.
After the show. But other than that, and the nachos, we got to work on the nachos.
Nate, you're behind the screen over there. Nachos, improve the nachos.
Yeah, it shouldn't come out of a squeezed bottle. It's got to be melted cheese. Let's work on that. But other than that, a great experience. And I've also found, and I found this to be very true from dealing with the Daily Wire. I'm not used to young people being respectful and nice and courteous and helpful and friendly. I'm used to them being sort of standoffish and weird and suspicious and sort of we've gotten rid of the hierarchy of life. There's nobody in charge anymore. No one's your boss. You know, there's no elderly. There's no generals. Everyone's just a private, or everyone's a general. I think that's the way it works.
I think it's
now.
everyone's a general. now.
Right. And so kids' attitudes are horrible and they suck. And there's nothing worse than Hollywood kids, like this the attitude of young people in this town. But you go to the Daily Wire or you go to Angel Studios and it's different. It's a different attitude with younger people there. They have a respect, and it's palpable. Like you kind of notice it when you walk in. And I don't know if it's just baked into kind of a conservatism or if it's coached up, but it is different.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I wish I could say that was just like inherently part of the Utah culture, because I've seen my fair share of like disrespect inside of every culture. But there is something unique inside of the Angel culture and the company, and that one of the things that we've really tried really hard on is to find people who we call it a founder's mentality, people who are thinking about Angel as if it was their company. And so we've actually built an incentive structure where, as we grow to, a multi-billion, even to a $10 billion plus company, hopefully in the years to come, that we're doing massive bonuses, similar to kind of like the Elon Musk bonus plan that he did for himself, where it was he grew the company to 10 billion and he got like $1 billion bonus, and then he grew it to 60 billion and then to 600 billion, and so he was able to structure those things. And so we've done something similar, but instead of it just going to us as founders, we're actually trying to distribute that among all the employees to have everybody kind of recalibrate their mind and say, hey, how do we have a founder's mentality? How do we, and I think that's attracting a different type of person, because they're coming in. These are people, we've got employees that are, mid to low level employees that really could be founders of their own company, but they believe in what we're doing. They believe in the mission. They want to change the entertainment space, and we're giving them an upside opportunity that I think it's causing a different level of maturity. And at least that's my hypothesis.
It works. And what was, I know the story is interesting behind Angel and then maybe into Dry-Bar as well. So just sort of walk us through the early iterations. Yeah,
because when we started this a little over 11 years ago, 4 brothers and a cousin in my brother's basement. And we've got a lot of kids. My parents have 9 children among all of us, and among the 9 children, there's already 60 grandkids.
Wow!
So it's a house full, and so it was one of those things where we were seeing the entertainment space and how quickly we felt like it was distancing itself from the audience, from what the audience would actually want. This is back in 2012, 13, and so we decided, hey, what if we can create a group of like-minded individuals who want entertainment that represents what they feel is important for their family. And so we created what was called VidAngel at the time, which was a filtering service that allowed, parents to basically take control and say, hey, I want to skip any, graphic violence for my kids, or I want to skip, the F word or whatever it may be. And then we blew up. I mean, it blew up and by 2015, 2016, we were growing at a faster rate than what Netflix was at a similar time and space. And the goal was to build up a large audience around this service and then launch original content. And we weren't planning to launch original content yet, but Disney, Warner Brothers, 20th Century Fox, and Lucasfilms sent us a lovely note in 2016, basically saying, hey, we're suing you guys. I think they could see the writing on the wall of what we were actually going for. and that we were coming to be a competitor in their space. And so we ended up in this long, arduous 4.5-year legal battle with them, trying to just survive. But one of the things we did right at the beginning is we said, hey, we're going to launch the studio business. The first show was going to be Dry Bar Comedy. That was the first show. But in order for us to survive this, we have to raise some capital. And no one wanted to touch us for obvious reasons. Like no VC's like, yeah, you're in a lawsuit with Disney. Let me just throw some money at that. That makes sense. And so we went to our audience and just said, hey, let's, you're asking us to fight this. They're literally donating to us at this time. We had like $300,000 of donations in 5 months, which sounds like a lot, but that's like 2 weeks of legal fees. And so we launched this regulation crowdfunding round where we allowed for people to come invest, be equity holders in Angel. This was a law that had just been passed that year. It's one of the great laws that Obama passed. And we raised $10 million in 5 days. And it just blew our socks off. And so we took $5 million to fight the legal battle, and we took $5 million, of which the first money was to start Dry Bar Comedy. And now that's launched into all of our original content around, obviously, the first 3 seasons of The Chosen, Tuttle Twins, the Wing Feather Saga, Sound of Freedom, which came out in theaters in 2023 and was a huge box office hit. Homestead, which came out in December, was another big box office hit. And King of Kings, which is it's right there, which is in the box office right now and has been a big hit, just past 50 million in the box office. And so this studio business, we got here in a weird way. We ended up settling with Disney in 2020, and which was for us was a miracle. Survival was a win for us. And so we're just honored to be creating a model that is allowing for timeless art to have timeless residuals. Our streaming model is really baking into an ecosystem where if you go watch Adam Carolla on Angel, he's getting paid. And not, with Netflix, you get one-time fees or you get one-time licenses, and then they'll take all the upside of how big or small it gets. And so the bigger we get as a membership, the more royalties there are going out to these filmmakers, these stand-up comedians, and everybody.
See what's screaming free all month long during Pluto TV's April Ghouls. Get your heart pounding with nightmare-fueling classics like Insidious and Bram Stoker's Dracula. Or test your nerves with haunting hits like Urban Legend and Don't Be Afraid of the Dark. Pluto TV has hundreds of channels and thousands of terrifying movies, live and on demand. Download Pluto TV on all your favorite devices and start streaming now.
Artists, I think, sometimes have to pretend like it's all about the art, and they guys, comedians will never talk about corporate gigs. They'll do corporate gigs, but they don't talk about corporate gigs. And my thing is hey, I did this podcast for free for the first year. I spent my own money because bandwidth was expensive back then, and it cost me thousands a month. I did it for free, but I also wanted to get paid at some point. When I was a carpenter, I wanted to get paid. I would not come build you a house if you didn't pay me, And now I'm a comedian, and I want to get paid. And it doesn't mean, I don't think it makes you less of an artist. I would do it, and I do tons of stuff for free, tons of stand-up for free. All comedians do, but ultimately, you got to keep the lights on, and so that's fine. I feel like sometimes it's some sort of naughty little artist secret. I'm really not doing this for money. Yes, you are, and that's good. And it doesn't affect the material or the process or the outcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, timeless art deserves timeless residuals.
Yes,
I agree. It's like if you can create a piece of art that just has massive reach and impact on the world and is generating massive amounts of revenue, the artists who created that used their blood, sweat, and tears to get that into the world deserve timeless residuals, and that's what we're trying to create.
Yes. I don't know if we'll count my stand-up specials as timeless art, but
there's a couple of good bits in there. Come on, Carolla.
There are a couple of sixes in there.
There could be 50 years from now, Adam, some kid's going to be watching something on the Angel Guild and be like, man, this is so good.
Oh, come your mouth to God's ears. Yeah, well, you guys asked me if I wanted to do it, and I tell everybody all the time because they go, why'd you do Dancing with the Stars? And I go, because somebody asked me and it scared me. And as soon as I got scared, I went, oh, now I have to do it. That the rule is
now I'm
if
going to tackle it.
If it sounds scary, then I'll do it. And also there was like, I did a professional Trans Am car race in a crazy fire-breathing 800 horsepower Corvette once. And it's just because somebody asked me, like they went, you want to do a professional Trans Am race? And I was like, that sounds scary. Okay, I'll do it. So,
but there's something to that. I mean, there's something to that. One of the big characteristics of successful people that they've studied is resilience, the ability to go and say, hey, I'm going to go try something super challenging. I was with my son. This is what I tell my kids all the time. We were at a hot springs in Utah, and it's still pretty cold up in the mountains in Utah. And across the road, there's this river that's just literally runoff from the snow melt from the winter. So it's freezing. And we get over there, the water level's high. My son's 9 years old. I jump in, freezing, cold, jump out. He touches his toe. He's like, no, I can't do it. And I'm like, Brig, you can do hard things.
Yeah.
Like, you can do that. And he jumped in. He's about ready to cry, and he comes swimming out. But at the end of the day, he proved to himself he could do something that was hard. And we're missing that of parents telling their kids, like, hey, that's hard. You can do a hard thing. You can do that.
1,000% we're missing it. It's a big problem. It's kind of a feminization of our culture where it's like the woman would be the one going, don't, it's freezing. Get away from the thing. You know what I mean? So I literally I made that deal with my son when he was young with cold water. It's weird. Not in Utah and La Cañada. But I had a freezing swimming pool in the back, and I got in the freezing swimming pool every single day and swam underwater. And my son was like missing some grit, because he's raised in bubble wrap that had Purell injected into it. We wrapped him with bubble wrap, and then we took a hose and we pumped Purell into it. And that's
all the teachers. They're like, we can't speak down to kids now. We got to be at their level. So they'll lay on the ground and they're like, hey, are you okay? Do you consent to this conversation?
I am so square and so old. I walked in my daughter's class. I'll tell you about the pool, but I walked in my daughter's class once when she was like, I don't know, 2. Parent day or something, and the teacher's like 26-year-old chick with the nose stud she had her Starbucks big dome cup because she had to have whipped cream on everything, and her name was written and facing out to the class. And I was like, hey, you want to turn that cup in? Because when I was a kid, if you found out the teacher's first name, it was over. It was done. It was done. It was weird too. Like you're like, George. It's so weird. It was weird. Just finding out that Mr. Backus had a first name, which was novel. So I don't know why that was so weird, but I was like, you better turn that cup in. And she goes, oh, they all call me by my first name.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's what happened. That's what happened.
The decline of Western civilization.
I told my son, I said, you got to get in that freezing swimming pool only on days your dad does comedy for free. If I'm getting on a plane and going out of town and getting paid, that's fine. But if I'm driving over the hill to go to the comedy store on a Wednesday night for no money, then you need to be in the pool the next day.
We all suffer.
Yeah, we're all going to learn what it's like
great.
to grow a little. That. Yeah, it lasted 10 minutes.
Grind together. Lasted 10 minutes.
10 minutes, and then the wife got involved. You're trying to kill him. Okay, great. Get the bubble wrap. But yeah, I was like, oh man, I don't think I can do 45 minutes of stand-up clean stand-up, not sort of late night. Clean, clean stand-up. I was like, I don't think I have this. And then as soon as
to your point, there's clean and then there's Provo clean, right?
Right. And Provo clean, I thought, nah, man, I think I could do like Encino, North Hollywood clean, maybe parts of Sherman Oaks, but not Provo. I don't have Provo clean, And then as soon as I thought that, I thought, oh, now I have to do it because this sounds scary to me. By the way, it's all just scary. Dancing with the Stars when you can't dance is scary. Driving a professional Trans Am race when you're not a professional driver is scary. And Provo clean, it's all scary. It's all. I don't know how much different. You can't get more different than dancing versus stand-up versus driving a Trans Am car, but it's all the same. It's just scary. And so
it's all a challenge.
Yeah.
And everybody, I got to go to your second show. I didn't get to go to your first one, but I went to your second show, and I can tell you, I mean, the standing ovation, you did such an exceptional job. Like, anybody who's listening to this, you have to go experience Adam's second dry bar special, because it is the belly laughter was real. Like, you know, there's the laughter, the courteous laughter, and then there's the deep laughter where you're just like, you're kind of disturbed by some of the people laughing because you're like, whoa, is that a real laugh? that is strange. And you had multiple moments of that. So make sure you guys get over there. Every time you join the guild and support and watch this, you're supporting Adam to be able to do more stand-up, more dry bar. And so it's angel.com/Adam Carolla. Get over there, get 50% off your first 3 months, and enjoy the special because it's amazing.
Yeah, I do. I find myself sort of thinking of jokes, going, oh, okay, that could be a dry bar. Like, that would work.
Nice.
That's
That would
Provo.
work.
Out of your comfort zone.
That's Provo clean.
Well, and to be clear, it wasn't like, you know, clean doesn't always mean that you weren't being edgy. Like, there was moments where you actually went into the more political side of the discussion, right?
Yeah.
There were some great political jokes. And so you got your audience who's like, man, Adam's clean. That's going to be boring. Guys, I'm telling you, it's the same Adam Carolla. Like, he is.
Yeah,
he's
it didn't feel different.
No, it's the same guy. It's just he's got a few less F words in there.
I found it weirdly sort of liberating, even though it should have felt confining. But there's kind of a way where this thing, it's sort of like, back to the analogy, when you climb into the Trans Am car, it's just a cage that you climb into, and then you have a 6-way harness, and you're all belt, and you could get sort of paranoid about being strapped, but it actually feels better. It feels safer to be in this thing strapped down with all the equipment on you and everything. And I sort of felt, so it feels liberating to be strapped into this cage with this car. And I've sort of felt that way about doing clean stand-up. Like, I felt sort of liberated by it. It felt like, well, we're going to get rid of the crutches, and we're going to get rid of the stuff and the easy stuff, and now this is just going to be the stuff that works, and there's no more falling back on this or that crutch, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I would argue that it would probably make you a better stand-up, even if just to challenge yourself to do it, because all the crutches sort of go away. You know what I'm talking about, Adam?
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
100%.
And I like the point that you can still be edgy in that sort of format. You know, it's
Yeah.
clean, but you can still challenge the audience a little bit and go for genuinely smart and interesting jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, the only time I lost the audience is I said, anybody, we got any drinkers out here? And I was like, no. I was like, oh, yeah.
just silence.
It was just silence.
You can pin drop.
You could. And then I said, but you know people that drink, right? And everyone started laughing. And I was like, all right, we're back. Jordan, King of Kings in theaters, King of Kings as we speak, doing well. Nice. Getting back. I like it. I like getting back to the things, the way, it's just something a little more wholesome. Not everybody, you know, like little less race riding and a little more just folks, taking care of folks, and wholesome entertainment, and kids allowed to be kids, you know, like, you don't, this thing that's like, we have to tell kids about the trans community on their 6th birthday. It's like, I just leave them alone. They got the Easter Bunny. They got Santa Claus. Yeah. They'll figure out the trans thing later on. They will. You can't avoid it. Lord knows I've tried. I cannot avoid the trans information. They'll get it. But while they're 6, just let them be 6 at this point. Watch a little dry bar comedy, crack a yoo-hoo, and enjoy your childhood for as long as we can nurse that. Jordan, I hope to see you soon. I think we'll do a series. We'll do a few, right?
Yep, we have a lot of ideas of what we're going to do together. So we appreciate all you're doing, Adam, and how you've continued to bring your talents to dry bar. So thank you so much.
It's been a treat. And again, it's like I'm old, so you don't know what's around the next corner. You really don't. Could be the Grim Reaper. I don't know. Could be another.
But Adam's never going to say it, so I'll say it for him. Guys, you got to watch this special. Angel.com/Adam Carolla. Get 50% off your first 3 months. When you do this, you are supporting Adam and his stand-up and his career and what he's doing. And it is Adam. This is his personality. Everything's in there. And so go enjoy it. Go watch the first one for free. It's now free. Anybody can go watch it. And you can get a taste of what this is going to be like. But yeah, this is a meaningful, being a guild member is a meaningful impact on actually changing the entertainment space and causing the entertainment to really adapt to what the audience wants.
Yeah. I mean, it's as successful as you guys are, obviously impossible to do without the guild and the people that support it. Jordan, much love to you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Over there.
Appreciate it, brother.
In Provo. Yep. Adam, you got shows coming up with Yakov.
Yep, yeah, we'll be at the La Jolla Comedy Store April this weekend, Friday to Sunday.
And the special is not big enough to cancel as well. Very funny special.
And I got a fighter fighting in Pittsburgh this weekend, Brady Hong. Let's get it on.
Brady Hong.
Yep.
Where do we find it?
Battle of the Berg. Google it up in Pittsburgh. We'll see you out there.
I'm going to be in Port Charles, Florida, doing stand-up May 2nd, May 3rd coming up. I'll be everywhere. Go to AdamCarolla.com. Melbourne, Florida, on the next day on the 4th. Go to AdamCarolla.com for all that. Until next time, Adam Carolla with Jordan Harmon and Adam Yenser and Mayhem saying, Mahala.